Hello, everybody. Well, we are now in the final session of this assembly. As you remember, each of the regions have been discussing several issues about the next step for AAU, both at the global level and each of the conference. So we are going to hear the report of each of the presidents of the regional association, and they will have about 12 minutes to present the report. And we will start with the Association of Jesuit University in India. So, Joe, please. South Asia.
Not India, South Asia. Yes, thank you. It's called JHASA, Jesuit Higher Education South Asia, Association South Asia. We have 4 zones. We have 82 institutions. I don't want to say what all those institutions you see there. 4 universities, autonomous colleges, affiliated colleges, independent colleges of education, social institutes, theology centers and philosophy centers, and also counseling centers. We are 21 provinces. Almost, this is what is catalog says, 130,000 students and more than 9,000 faculty. And we have here, we are the highest contingent, I think, 47 delegates here. No other region has. Why don't you give a good hand? But 47, what they do, we don't know, but 47 we have. The context is, for us, it is very difficult context. We are in a very unfriendly animosity is experiencing through regulations and policies of the government. So in the context is new education policy has given huge challenge and widely seen as an anti-minority and anti-rural poor, raising significant concerns to the extent of some of the colleges is in danger of closing down. This is the context. So we are in that. So I'll take the first 2 questions that have been asked by the IAJ board. Which of the issues should be prioritized for continued study, deep reflection, collective advocacy, and making them focus areas for our Jesuit higher education institutions in the short term? And what projects and initiatives could IAJU develop effectively to translate this strategic priority into action? Main reasons. I have put these two questions together when I am answering this. First issue that we think in our discussion, 47 of us, when we had the deliberations, the first major issue that we want IAJU to take up is collaboration networking, because we talk about it every time we come together, but walking the talk is very important. So what we suggest is, why don't you establish a formal IAJ desk, a dedicated office to enhance networking and collaboration among IAJ institutions across 6 regions, focusing on faculty and student exchange, joint research and global curriculum development. I think this will act as a central hub to coordinate collective responses and sustain collaborative efforts, turning aspirations into concrete actions within the global Jesuit higher education network. How do we do this? We broke into 2 or 3 concrete actions. One is establish global exchange chair in all the 6 regions. So you can create global exchange chairs in select universities across 6 regions to enhance research and advocacy aligned with our IAJ priorities. These chairs emphasizing on global citizenship, democracy, promotion, and sustainability within Jesuit higher education institutions. So this will give a kind of institutionalization of academic exchange. And now India, the government is inviting foreign campuses to set up university campuses in India Therefore, we suggest that IAJ institutions in other 5 regions to set up campuses in India. You can choose one of our universities or colleges to set up, because this will give us a great opening in exchange and collaborations. So now the government invites foreign universities to establish. So for this, a dedicated task force, if you set up, it will be concretely realized. We also suggest that we come here for once the assembly, then after 3 years we come back, we talk about the same thing. Instead, why don't we continually stay in touch with each other, for which we suggest that we will create knowledge hub for resource sharing. So IAJ institutions currently lack this inter-institutional resource sharing despite their individual strengths. So it can enhance collaboration, optimize resource use, reduce duplication among member institutions. So I think this collective capacity has to be tapped. The another issue that we want you to address, IAJU, Global Citizenship Program is already been going on. Dr. Tom Panchoff is doing. This can be extended to faculty training, because it's only students are doing and that faculty are not convinced about this. So it can extend this so that faculty are trained, curriculum is designed, and regional task force also could be established here. The next issue that we want to address is sustainability and ecological responsibility. And this is not very well done, because I think that the response from JHASA was also very less. I want to apologize. It was not, response was not there. So ecological observatory has to be established, and also this could be collected and archived, what we do in each institution practices. The next one is student well-being. So emphasizing this student well-being at this context, so providing personalized care, addressing emotional, gender, sexuality, spiritual needs of our students. So we want IAJU develop regional teams and also evolve formation modules and train counselors and mentors to offer holistic support to students aligned with Ignatian values. The fifth issue that we want IAJA to take it up and focus on, promotion of democracy, already is there. We want you to expand this and formalize the regional task forces with more human and also material resources. And Jesuit Higher Education South Asia could also serve as an active platform to leverage collective influence. The last issue that we want to suggest to IAJ is the Jesuit identity, creation of identifiers like the school education does. So Jesuit universities recognize a lack of this distinct Jesuit identity. What we felt was that there is no Jesuitness in all our Jesuit institutions, if I use that word, Jesuitness. So we want to develop, comprehensive blueprint defining what is a university. The model is already available in the American Association of Jesuit Colleges, AJCU. They have got the mission priority examine framework that can be replicated in all other conferences. The next part is what we will do. That's the next questions are asked in JHASA within our region. First one is collaboration. So comprehensive collaboration framework we will develop, unified model of collaboration, including joint research, annual interdisciplinary conferences, faculty exchanges and all that. And also dedicated desk for international exposure and forum of interconnection, so which I explained this. So the JHASA desk for international exposure. So we don't have somebody to coordinate this international exposure, which is one of the priorities, international experience. So therefore, desk aims to facilitate international exposure and experience of our students from tier 2, tier 3 colleges. What we call in DSS 2023, Father General is talking about growing colleges. That means the colleges have less facilities, so like the Magis exchange. So it could give support structure, and also it can broaden global perspectives. So as we said to the IAJU, we want to also focus on Jesuit identity and mission of all our institutions, for which what we want to do is we are a very big country, 21 provinces, we want to start zonal training centers in each zone, which will work on. Already we are doing this. One very important one that has been going on in Karnataka province is JESCOL, Jesuit Collaborators. 3-year program is going on. This could be expanded to all other provinces. Because very important, we are in the 80% of our students are Hindus, and also faculty are Hindus. So in this context, we need to make our institution Ignatian and our institutions as Jesuit institutions. Refugees and migration, also one of the things that we want to focus, because recently we have almost closing the Afghan mission. Afghan mission is very difficult to work, so we want to prioritize addressing refugee and migration challenges in South Asia, emphasizing social justice and human dignity. So we want to also collaborate with IAJU to create JHASA IAJU Fellowship Program, which we think that it will provide opportunities for faculty and students to engage in research, share expertise, and contribute to Jesuit higher education's mission-driven goals. And also, like IAJ board, we want to create also in our region, JHASA board, because coordinating this entire activity, because for us, 21 provinces, 21 countries, there are about more than 28 languages. So it is very difficult to coordinate. We need to have a handle to coordinate operationally and also governance level, and also strategic integration that we want to do. And also collaboration, JHASA collaboration to do. We have action plan in zonal level, which we will also like to increase, particularly in mentorship and training. And the last one is what we want to do is we have forums like Business School Forum, Engineering Colleges Forum, and all this, Jesuit Social Scientists, Psychologists Forum, and also we have ICAF Youth Forum, all this. We want these forums to really work together. And as said, supporting the growing college, online program, and the collaboration, what we want to do, faculty and student exchange program, and what we do. And we have also annual conferences we have, and province coordinators meeting we have. Also, this helps us also. Another thing, we continue to strengthen this area, safeguarding policies and the consistent culture of protection. So this one we have not done elaborately, but we have policies at this stage. We want to strengthen this. So at summary, I can say we want to strengthen the collaboration networking within our region and foster global citizenship and sustainability linking with IAJU and enhancing the student well-being and democratic advocacy. So next step, key ones, we will establish central coordination, form specialized task forces for all these, and focus on student well-being, particularly growing college. But we will focus the most important one, collaboration, and we will make all our institutions as Jesuit institutions. These are the things with deliberation came. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jose, for such an amazing presentation and a summary. You did an amazing work in your region. So let's now hear from AJCU, Africa and Madagascar. Francois, please.
So after listening to the largest delegation, please welcome the smallest delegation, constituted of myself. We had the Holy Trinity, myself, Father Chooks from the Kuria, and Father Omondi, please. Here he is, Father Omondi there. So we are three of us. And we are representing here 10 universities in Africa, in Madagascar. Most of them grew out of scholasticates in philosophy and theology, but a few of them, such as Kosi University, we started brand new from, let's say, non-philosophy and theological topics. So I would like first to thank the board of IAJU and Javeriana Pontificia Universidad and all the participants for this successful assembly. And I want also to express my gratitude to all those of you who expressed interest in collaborating with Africa and Madagascar. As far as the first question is concerned about the priorities, in Africa and Madagascar, we thought 3 of them are of great need and urgency for us. The first one is democracy and global citizenship. While democracy has improved on the continent, there are still a lot of challenges. Most of our countries are in transition from authoritarian and pseudo-democratic rules, and 9 countries out of 54 are in active conflicts. So this leads to social unrest and political instability that creates a context of fragility for our people, but also for our institutions. So how could we, as Jesuit institutions of higher education, make a contribution towards more stable countries and societies? And on that regard, we were really very impressed with the wonderful work that has been done by House Hall on the issues of democracy, and think we need to learn a lot from what has been done here. The second priority is migration and refugees. Although many may focus on international migration from Africa to richer countries, it is important to realize that internal migration is even more important within Africa due to the search for economic opportunities, but also due to political and social instability. As a matter of fact, Africa hosts more than 35 million refugees and 66 million internally displaced people. So this important number of internally displaced people and migrants call upon our institutions to better understand the phenomenon and to better serve as instruments of hope and of creative solutions. The third priority for us would be ecology and environmental justice. Here again, we want to salute and appreciate the work that has been done within IAJU, and we think that there is still a lot to do. Africa is a resource-rich continent with a very young population. 75% of us are under 25 years old. But so far, Africa seems to be rather experiencing resource curse, and the uneducated youth in Africa suffers from high unemployment, which leads to social unrest. Most of the countries that are in active war on the continent happen, surprisingly, to be most of the richest countries in terms of natural resources. So our Jesuit institutions should be part of the discussion to protect and to restore our environment in a way that natural and human resources are used for the good of our people, namely for the youth, the migrants, and the excluded. So after these 3 priorities, what will we do concretely at AJSU AM, Africa Madagascar? So the concrete projects. Given the 3 priorities, we think that we should focus on 2 things. The first one is research teams on the 3 priorities: democracy and global citizenship, migration and refugees, and ecology and environmental justice. So given the wonderful work that has been done at IAGU level, research group from Africa could learn a lot from the processes, results, and takeaways of these groups and task forces. So the idea for us would be that our institutions in Africa try or learn to generate indigenous knowledge and good practices in these 3 areas. And to do so, I think in terms of research rigor, we need to learn from whatever has been going on. The second point for us would be collaboration. And what I mean by collaboration is both ad intra and ad extra collaboration. It has been a privilege for the African team to attend this assembly in a university that is more than 300 years old. I mean, can you believe it? For us who are like 5 to 10 years old, this is something. So we would like to continue focusing both on ad-extra collaboration so that we can learn from our peers, but also add intra-collaboration for African institutions to come together to think global but to act local. As a matter of fact, and along the lines of the speech of Father General, collaboration among our African universities and other IAJU members is the way forward for us to be creative and design local solutions and to be instruments of hope despite our fragility. Again, thank you, Haberiana, for your warm welcome. Thank you all for your kind attention. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Francois. So now let's go hear from Father Roberto from AJCU Asia Pacific.
First, to introduce briefly our Asia Pacific Association. We are a very diverse association. We come from 9 countries, and we are composed of 21 institutions which are very diverse. There are 9 comprehensive universities. There are 8 specialist colleges. We have a School of Music. We have schools of education, standalone, schools of theology, and then we have 4 which are really private residence halls. So we're very diverse in our composition. We're also very diverse in terms of our cultures. In the Philippines, East Timor, we are predominantly Catholic, but in other countries, like Indonesia hosts the biggest number of the Muslim population. Japan and Korea, where we have Sophia and Sogang, of course, another Buddhist country. So we're very diverse, and then we speak about 21 languages. So it's always a problem when we run seminars and workshops because we have to invite, and our common working language will have to be English. So it's a very diverse association. We talked about the issues that we wanted to prioritize, so we chose 3. We said we would prioritize mental health and spiritual well-being, artificial intelligence, environmental justice, and integral ecology. Our proposal to the General Association of IAJU is first to perform new task forces. We have different task forces now at present, but we'd like to propose that IAJU forms a task force for spiritual, mental health, and well-being, where the research agenda can be interinstitutional, interdisciplinary, needs analysis, impact of the 5 other focus areas on mental health, well-being of our communities, and additionally, gender and identity. Documentation of best practices, formal training of mental well-being programs with an Ignatian spirituality lens, ongoing activities for capacity building. We also propose that IAJU forms a task force on artificial intelligence, craft IAJU level goals in response to AI evolution and ubiquity. Second, identify existing and mobilize new resources and direct them to common IAJU level goals. Encourage regional associations to create mirror task force initiatives. The new projects and initiatives we propose for IJU, we are very concerned about the finding in the survey that we were very low in the academic area in terms of environmental injustice and ecology. We thought that it would be helpful, especially for the smaller institutions, that we develop a universal curriculum syllabus or a module on integral ecology and environmental justice, which should be interdisciplinary with ethics, spirituality, politics, economic sociology, truly global analysis with local contextualization, similar programs for faculty, staff, and administrators, which perhaps IAGU can develop as an association, and then regional associations and local institutions can adopt. For the regional association itself, the projects and initiatives we are proposing are, well, we have ongoing initiatives already for students. We run a global leadership program for students. We run a service learning program for students, assistancy-wide. For faculty and staff, we have capacity building for collaborative online international learning. We have a Ignatian Higher Education Leadership Program. For the institutions, we have micro-credential capacity building and formal sharing of best practices in our various topics in the annual meetings. In our discussion, we thought that the association itself would mirror the task forces that we are proposing. So we said that we would form for AGCU AP 4 task forces, one in integral ecology, and we started to say, let's have commit certain universities to lead these task forces, and we identified the member universities who would be working in this university, this particular task forces. So one on integral ecology to be led by Sophia, artificial intelligence to be led by Sogang University, a task force on mental health and spiritual well-being to be led by Ateneo de Manila, and a task force in democracy to be led by Sogang University. Thank you very much.
Excellent, Father Roberto. So now let's hear from the KIDHE Network, the Association of Jesuit University in Europe and Lebanon. Philip?
I think it's fine. Perhaps at the beginning also a brief look at the diversity or the form of the Kirche network. We are right now 28 institutions in Europe and Near East, and they are characterized by a big diversity in size and form, and of course in the political situation in which they operate, from big universities to very small institutions with just a few hundred students, specialized mostly on philosophy and theology, the small institutions, and or other topics. So a challenge for us is always to find a common ground and to recognize the situation in which we operate, and not at least also to find a common language, because everybody in the room is not having English as a native language, but we still share this common background and experience of our situation in Europe and Near East. So what we tried to do methodologically in the beginning of our reflection was to talk about the criteria rather than the topics. So many of the universities that we compete with have much of what we have discussed. They have programs on artificial intelligence, on democracy, and so on. And so what would be the unique selling point of our work? And we found that we have to look in everything that we plan for the future, that we can keep an Ignatian profile, and that the approach that we choose for the study of the topics that we want to pick, an Ignatian entering point, and start with Ignatian core values. Also, we found it important that what we do really has an impact and should significantly affect our institutions and their mission. So it should be oriented to change, not only to to add new knowledge. Feasibility was another point that was mentioned. The initiative can realistically be implemented across diverse contexts, so it's not kind of too specialized, it should be broad, and we should connect to existing strengths of our institutions. And finally, it should produce some synergy among our institutions, which help us to foster and promote the collaboration with other Jesuit apostolates and ministries. So that's basically the background on which we then try to pick our priorities. So I found it in the next page here. You will see there's a kind of everything is a first priority. That's a joke. So it was something went wrong with the numbers. So where you, there's a 1 and then a 2 and a 3 very clearly, because it was clear when we started to discuss what would be the one topic that we feel most interested or most committed to. It was the student well-being, the mental and spiritual health topic. And I will come back later to how we think to approach it, but it seems to be a topic and a challenge that is relevant in this diversity of countries all over Europe, and not at least in Beirut, on the background of the political and security situation of the city. The second topic was artificial intelligence. I will also specify a little bit more how this could be approached and what it means to us, but we feel that we have to understand how AI shapes the ethical which ethical challenges it poses to us and how we can address them. Finally, democracy very much challenged also in Europe, and how we can become a kind of creative factor in this debate to help to promote democracy. Finally, I mentioned also that should be probably 4 here, the environmental justice, which is a topic that is implied in one way or the other in the first 3 topics as well. So it's an own challenge, but it is also a challenge that is stretching much broader, and this interconnectedness between the different areas should be taken also into account when we plan our activities. So when we come to the next slide, we divided then jobs or challenges that we want to see on the global level, and those that we think that we can take care of on the regional level, and try to ask ourselves what would be the first concrete step to do. So on the area of student well-being, we felt that we need to do more research in order to better understand what is going on, both on a kind of more global level and especially also in the concrete situations of the countries where we operate. So to clarify the scope, it would also be an important topic. So what are we talking about? I mean, what are the issues that we are studying and that we want to understand deeper? It would be helpful to prepare a research agenda integrating spiritual, vocational, and theological dimensions, and to prepare for conference working with this, and finally also, of course, to apply for research funding to get this started. It was surprising and consoling that 8 institutions in our region have already some kind of research going on in this field and are willing to commit to this field by encouraging their staff, their faculty to do more research and to commit to this this task force or whatever it will be. The other point here would be to organize the exchange and best practices among institutions. So partly just to understand how do other institutions solve this problem. Next one, artificial intelligence. Even here, research on the intersection between AI and core Jesuit educational principles would be necessary. we would like to prepare a conference and to apply for funding even here, create a community of practice to share know-how and best practices. Again, always underlying is the topic that this should be happen in a way that the contribution that we do really comes out of a Ignatian perspective. Finally, democracy. In our group, we had the impression that we would need a kind of a map to understand better what initiatives are already taken and how we could come into that, and also to design a study week or intensive formation program that keeps these questions not only alive, but helps us to develop more on that. Environmental justice, I mentioned, formation, develop accessible education and formation materials for students and faculty, and even here share best practices. So if we now move to the level of the conference, so what are things that we feel we should do in the Kircher network in our region, and we decided that the biggest challenge probably that we want to focus on, also not to divide too much our energies, is to strengthen on our efforts to deepen our Ignatian identity and mission, basically also inspired by the speech of Father General. We have at this point only one activity that we repeat every year, which is a so-called Canisius Cause for Jesuit Identity, and that gives the opportunity to staff and employees of our institutions to deepen their knowledge, but that's far from enough. So we will have to see what else we can do, and here's 3 of the suggestions that were made to broaden the offers that we can make to our institutions. The first one, share materials and best practices. That's very interesting because some institutions might have experiences that might be useful in other contexts also. We can offer online formation moments besides this Canisius formation course, which kind of take over where the course ends, and we can organize conferences, a hackathon on mission and identity and research. That was kind of a short summary of what we have talked and decided on in our group. Also from my side, a big thank you to your attention and to Javeriana for this wonderful conference.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Philip. And let's now the turn of AUSJAL, the Jesuit Association, the Association of Jesuit University in Latin America. Fernando.
Buenas tardes con todos y con todas. Mientras se ajustan los aparatos para la traducción, quiero agradecer a la Universidad Javeriana por su magnífica acogida y su excelente organización. Vamos a ver, ¿cuáles de los temas debemos priorizar para continuar su estudio, profundizar en su reflexión y en nuestra incidencia conjunta en el corto plazo? Esa es la primera pregunta. Consideramos la justicia socioambiental como el tema abarcador, como el punto focal, como respuesta a esta única crisis socioambiental descrita por el Papa Francisco en la Laudato Si. Quizás no es la única prioridad, pero es el punto focal de las siguientes. Los siguientes temas son también prioritarios, pero en relación con la justicia socioambiental. 1, emergencia climática con enfoque en ecología integral. 2, la crisis de la democracia en el mundo. 3, el bienestar integral de nuestros estudiantes. Evidentemente hay que estar bien para poder servir, y nos referimos a la salud mental y a la salud espiritual. Y 4, la sostenibilidad financiera de nuestras universidades mediante iniciativas innovadoras. Si no tenemos recursos, nada vamos a poder hacer. Segunda pregunta, ¿qué proyectos o iniciativas podría desarrollar la Yahoo para traducir esta estrategia prioritaria en acción? Yo creo que podría desarrollar más bien la Yahoo desde lo que podemos proponer como Aushal. Primero, una comunidad de práctica y aprendizaje sobre la justicia ambiental, con proyectos que ya estamos impulsando como punto de partida. Segundo, un modelo de evaluación de la responsabilidad socioambiental universitaria. Tercero, proyectos en torno al ambiente y a la sostenibilidad. Y aquí tenemos para presentar, para poner a disposición de Yahoo, por lo menos 3 tipos de trabajos de buenas prácticas: incorporación de la sostenibilidad al currículo, gestión sostenible de cada campus universitario y proyectos de investigación y publicación sobre medio ambiente y corrupción en América Latina. Cuarto, un modelo de formación en ciudadanía global que recupere las mejores prácticas de Yahoo. Enseguida, el programa de liderazgo ignaciano universitario de Aushal. Algo parecido es el voluntariado ignaciano Aushal. También podemos poner a disposición la transformación de nuestras propias instituciones en universidades Laudato Si. Muchas, si no digo todas las universidades de Aushal, somos 29 en América Latina, estamos buscando convertirnos en universidades Laudato Si. Y hay ejemplos, bueno, en todas. Puedo citar algunas, pero creo que sería injusto con el resto. Otro proyecto que creo que puede ser bastante útil es el Observatorio de la Democracia que llevamos en Aushal, y luego proyectos de investigación y publicación que realiza la Red de Pobreza y Desigualdad. En Aushal trabajamos a través de grupos de trabajo, redes internas sobre temas que interesan a las distintas universidades. Y uno de esos son como unas 18 o 17 redes. Una de esas es la Red de Pobreza y Desigualdad, que es bastante productiva. No es la única, pero es una de ellas que cito ahora. Ahora, vamos a la tercera pregunta. ¿Cómo puede Aushal implementar las 5 prioridades de la Asociación Internacional? Bueno, ya hemos presentado algunas iniciativas en el campo de justicia ambiental, que estamos de hecho ya trabajando, y con eso estamos implementando una de las prioridades de Yahoo. Y tenemos también otros proyectos en marcha para implementar estas prioridades. Vamos a actualizar nuestro estudio, un estudio que se ha hecho hace algunos años, para caracterizar a las juventudes latinoamericanas. Podemos compartir buenas prácticas de cátedras transversales para los estudiantes. Hay un sondeo en ITESO, en la Universidad de Guadalajara, sobre las necesidades estudiantiles de acompañamiento integral. También en ITESO hay una iniciativa Reflex IA para la formación y acompañamiento educativo con relación al uso de la inteligencia artificial. Tenemos una gran iniciativa en Aushal que me parece que está haciendo mucho por las prioridades de Yahoo, que es el Intercampus Aushal. Es un espacio formativo internacional virtual para todos los estudiantes. Tenemos proyectos, por ejemplo, en mi universidad tenemos el proyecto de 1 millón de árboles, que sirve a la vez para compensar la huella de carbono y también para crear conciencia sobre el cuidado de la casa común. Hay iniciativas, cuarta pregunta. ¿Hay iniciativas en Aushal en la línea de las prioridades referidas? Nosotros tenemos un plan estratégico con 70 o más proyectos, y todos los proyectos, creo que no me equivoco, todos los 70 proyectos del plan estratégico apoyan una o algunas de las prioridades de la agenda estratégica de Yahoo. Ya he mencionado algunas, pero voy a repetir las más relevantes. el modelo de evaluación de la responsabilidad socioambiental universitaria, esto de ir configurando universidades como universidades Laudato Si, luego investigaciones y publicaciones sobre desigualdad y pobreza, sobre medio ambiente y corrupción, sobre derecho a la comunicación y democracia, sobre pedagogía ignaciana. Algo que me parece que es una práctica bastante relevante que apoya una de las prioridades estratégicas es ya lo mencioné, el programa de liderazgo universitario ignaciano, que ya pronto va a tener 5.200 egresados en este año. Tenemos un programa de inmersión dual, inglés-español-portugués, que es una oportunidad formativa en línea y que ha beneficiado a 3.000 participantes por semestre en promedio. Otra iniciativa que ya funciona es el Observatorio de la Democracia, que inspira y coordina el Task Force sobre la democracia, y obviamente desde América Latina. Y aunque no es un proyecto continuo, pero sí es un acto, un hecho, quisiera citar que hace mes y medio aproximadamente se realizó en la PUC de Río un evento para celebrar los 10 años de la Laudato Si. Hubo uno en la Gregoriana, hubo este segundo en Río. Y este evento convocó a más de 200 universidades y fue liderado por una universidad a cargo de la Compañía de Jesús. Es un evento bastante destacado, a tal punto que el primer mensaje del Papa León XIV en vídeo fue dirigido a este encuentro. Y además sirvió y sirve como preparación para la participación de la Compañía de Jesús en la COP30. Bueno, esto es básicamente lo que teníamos que presentarles. Muchas gracias por su atención.
Eso, más o menos. Gracias, Fernando. Let's hear now from AJCU North America. Tania, the floor is yours.
I will not be impressing you with US technology with my very sad presentation, and I'm quite jealous of yours. The AJCU has 28 colleges and universities across the United States and Belize, with 3 associate members in Canada and 1 in Australia. The Canadian members have recently been very willing to take us in as refugees, should that become necessary, so we are grateful to them. In our meeting, we were overwhelmed with the warmth of this gathering, the experience of coming from all over the world but speaking the same Jesuit language, the lack of hierarchy, the sense of family, the spark of mutual courage. Each of these international meetings over the years has brought a better sense of collaboration, and we know that our collective work is too urgent to be limited by national borders. I described to you already the other day some of the challenges to the US schools, to our funding and our autonomy, to the structures of democracy that we rely on. This week at this gathering, as one of us in our meeting said, we are half afraid and half filled with joy. We are grateful for the reminder to take the longer view, to focus on mission, on who we are and not just what we do, to form our faculty and staff so that we can form our students. And as always at these meetings, we become more aware of our privilege and the responsibility that comes with that. We worry that we compete instead of collaborating, that we, despite our resources, act out of a sense of scarcity, even though we have so much. And so we listen to the exhortation to look outward, to act in solidarity, to move beyond a narrow definition of self-interest and inward focus, to build a distinctive sense of collaboration for our network, adding to the enormous strength represented here, to let go of our attachment to that which matters less, with greater spiritual freedom, and to focus on core mission. So we very much want to become more global, especially as the US government tells us not to become more global, making it difficult to exchange students and scholars. We talked a lot about how to do that, because this work requires support from the top of institutions, but it is also, as you know, grassroots work born of relationship, the cumulative impact of thousands of small, specific projects. We embrace the subjects that this conference and the UAPs push us to focus on, from climate change to migration. We welcome the new focus at this conference on AI, which is an unimaginably powerful tool for good or for evil, and one which could also threaten humanity. We remember that supportive democracy requires global citizenship, and so this very collaboration furthers that cause. The question for us is not whether to collaborate more, but how. And too often these discussions are full of good intentions, but vague and not specific about execution. So we tried to lay out, what is it that we do in global collaboration? So that is, go back to the first page. No farther. Just to lay out the subjects you all know well. Research is inherently global, but how do we incentivize our faculty to reach out to their Jesuit colleagues around the world first? Could we share research centers across borders? How do we do more? Advocacy. For us, our faculty are rewarded for their research, not their advocacy and promotion. How do we ensure that when they create task force reports, when we do that together, that those reports don't just sit on a shelf somewhere? How do we maximize our power as universities to the world? We do joint degree programs together. We have many and we are eager to do more. Exchanges and study abroad with students. We should grow those exchanges within the network, and for the US and Canada, persuade more of our students to go to countries outside of their comfort zone. And despite new opposition in the US, we also work to welcome international students with scholarships and warm support. We should collaborate more on curricula to make that seamless. We talked a lot about sharing best practices among our institutions, which we saw here at this conference. We have so much to share, but also very much to learn from the rest of you. So here are just some topics that we talked about: pedagogy and how we teach, curricula and what we teach, how we do student support more broadly, how we form our colleagues. And then the work that we all do and should do more of relating to the global church is in and of itself global collaboration. So then we talked about the tactics of collaboration, because all of this sounds good, but how do we actually make it happen? So let's go on to the next page. So first is the work of networking. There's no substitute for human beings coming together like this conference. But there's also now more of technology, from listservs to using more task-oriented applications and technology like Slack that some of you use that can be more engaging than old-fashioned email. We've dreamed about building a matchmaking app, like a dating app, but for connecting us around the world in our interest and specialty. We dreamed about building an app to connect students to global opportunities, to research, to chances, in the way that we use technology already in career services that way. We talked about a website to share best practices. So some of you may know the secondary schools have Educate Magis, and there you can upload practices that others can share. And if we did that in a way where we can each share our good ideas, but we use AI to better synthesize that, make it more easily searchable, come up with, take all that data and make it useful. We talked about the power of inventories and maps, which several of us have mentioned, and that slogging work of identifying all those partners to make it easier to find who you can collaborate with, as Loyola Chicago did. We talked about white papers and task force reports being of value just in the writing of them. They foster collaboration. but especially if we focus those on the subjects of collaboration. So for example, the inspiration paradigm among our business school faculty of really trying to share what it means to teach business in a Jesuit paradigm and to share that knowledge. We talked about our own internal incentive systems in universities of how we reward global collaboration among our faculty, of how we'll need to find seed money to facilitate some of these projects, especially the ability to free up time and bandwidth for our faculty and staff. And then we talked about what the AJCU itself might do to drive some of these projects. So right now we do not have a focus on an institutional research mechanism or the creation of hubs for systems and connections. And we thought we could consider what we could put aside to focus more on this. So thank you all so much. It has been a joy to be with you.
Thank you so much, Tania, and thank you to all of you for your presentation. I'm really impressed. I mean, we have been talking just 45 minutes for so many Jesuits in the panel, and after all of these debates in the regional conference, I mean, that is I will say that it is a success in this panel. So we have heard the sixth report. We have heard about the criteria for prioritizing all of this topic. We have heard on the how are we going to do to make all of this idea real. And we heard about projects, of course, on research, wonderful idea, formation, exchanging best practices, and of course, having the support, the institutional support for doing all of this. Thank you so much for your idea. That will be an input for the AJU board that will meet tomorrow. And please send your report to Father Joseph Christie so that we can have all of the information and input for the decision. So given that we have time, I will say that we would want to hear from you, feedback about what you have heard so far, question, suggestion. We have about 10-15 minutes to do so, so raise your hands and the floor.
I think it has been impressive that these regional reports are all focusing on very nicely on what has surfaced in the past. And the new issue, I guess, has been AI. Yeah. And it's certainly connected, but it strikes me more and more how interconnected all of these are. Yeah. Democracy, environmental justice, migration, they're all very well connected. And one of the things, though, when you add AI as a possibility for thinking of their interconnections and for dreaming a little bit, I wonder if the time has come for some leaders from among our institutions here to think about a global university, that a Jesuit global university. That university could actually be the platform for doing much of the collaboration and interchange of ideas, as well as extend Jesuit education to new margins. There would be some important criteria, like we have to keep supporting, as JWL does, the access for the poor. Otherwise, it wouldn't be thoroughly Jesuit. We would have to have a humanistic orientation to our degree programs. Otherwise, it wouldn't be truly Jesuit institutions. So there would have to be criteria. But I say this now because ideas like this probably take 6, 8, 10 years to blossom. But we have to start raising questions like this because this is an extremely powerful network, probably the most powerful one in the world. And we are not now moving into this area of global university, which a couple of groups have already begun to move into. So I just throw that out because it's one idea. The other thing that I would like to add to this, although people should moan because it's just another idea and another subject, and do we have to have another task force? But more recently than ever before, perhaps not since the 1950s and 60s, have we been worried about nuclear proliferation, the spread of weapons, and peace, the need for democratic countries to work for justice and peace. Peace is not possible without justice. And we know, again, how all of these topics are related. Maybe the university that we found is based around the notion of peace and justice, but I just throw those two things out because I think we need to think about what should we be doing, not just in the next 3 years, but in the next 10 years.
Thank you, Father Garanzini. Anybody else?
I'm Paul from India. We speak so much about collaboration, networking. It's very well reflected in the reports. But then in reality, when we see, we hardly find any American university, Jesuit universities of course, or the European universities coming forward to help the universities in the South, especially in India, where we have the highest number of Jesuit institutions, because often it is cited that there are bureaucratic hurdles. So in this context, I just want to know from the panelists, when we speak of collaboration and networking, how can you handhold these smaller institutions which are the future of Jesuit education, because we educate the largest population in the world. So at least in future, is there a possibility of these elite universities from the Americas as well as Europe to collaborate with the Asian countries, especially South Asia or Africa? Thank you.
Excellent question. Anybody from the panel want to tackle that question? Caboret? Francois?
I'll be brave.
Tanya?
I think the practical difficulty is that we are not a collective of the whole, the way the conference is, the way the society gets to be. We are separate legal institutions, each university within the US, for example, competing with each other. And so we are not allowed to share resources in the broader way, but what we can do is to make clear to our boards, to the students who pay very high tuition to come, why this matters to them and why being global is essential to their education. We can do things with strategies and collaboration and in-kind agreements and joint degree programs and sending people to you and welcoming your faculty and students to us. And that's what we need to do more of. But we are not set up in a way that allows us to think about the future of global Jesuit education and to decide, we need to be in this country or that, because we are divided into these individual little silos. So that's the practical difficulty, but this work of reminding us of why it matters to us and is part of our individual institutional mission is what gets us over that hurdle.
Thank you, Diana. Alain?
Thank you. Is a little bit to go in the same direction. I think in the European group we have spoken a lot about the desire to foster our collaboration between Europe and Africa, especially these institutions who need to be developed and to be helped, and we also need to receive from them. So it's at the beginning to foster this collaboration between the European universities and the African universities. I think it's a desire of beginning some more structures relationship between these two continents. At least it's the beginning.
Thank you. Francois, do you want to add something, comment?
Okay, thank you. Well, so thank you for asking the question on behalf of all of us. And thank you also for your offer. I think we understand what are the hurdles and the difficulties, as you just mentioned. And we appreciate, what the Kitchen Network has discussed. And I think Father General will certainly support us a lot around these lines, but it boils down to us also being able to clearly outline what we need, where we want to go in a very sustainable way, because, not to quote him, but a university is not a short-term project, but a very long-term project. So I really appreciate what you just mentioned. And on the side of Africa, we're going to work to discuss amongst ourselves and to make sure that we come up with a roadmap, a long-term roadmap, so that we can collaborate efficiently, so that we can grow in the right tradition. And also, as I mentioned, creating and designing indigenous solutions so that we can be instruments of hope, of prosperity for our countries in the line of the Jesuit tradition. So Thank you very much for asking the question, and thank you for the answers.
Go ahead, Phil.
I very much appreciated the suggestion of the South Asian region to establish a board, I think you called it, because I think part of the problem is that we don't know where to go if we have something to offer or something to receive. So it's very much also a networking. We meet people and then we feel we can ask questions, but it would be good to have this very simple structure of an address and a list of needs, and so where we can look into. I think that's a little bit also in line with what Father Garanzini said about the global university, which would make it easier to move resources and competence and just to know more about each other if we had a common roof or something like that.
Or at least a global hub, like a first step before the university, which is a very, very big step. So, or at least a hub. So, go ahead.
This is to respond to two questions and also extend what both of you have talked about. Every time the last Bilbao, before that, after that Boston, from the South Asian institutions, we have made efforts. And most of us also signed MOUs. The difficulty that what you have said just now, for example, Georgetown University, when we talked about collaboration, they said it's not comparable institutions. Are you university? We say it's a college. No, then we cannot collaborate. This kind of incompatibility is remaining. That is why from our group, at yesterday's deliberation, what we said, is there a way or some imagination to evolve a particular program which is suitable, palatable to the colleges, universities in India? Because every time we talk, we write MOUs. I think all the institutions, because when I went around in India and South Asia, each institution has got more than about 40 MOUs, Memorandum of Understandings. And most of them are paper tigers. They are not tigers. Because when we ask this, they say other institutions. And also we have made, both of us made efforts, not only United States, also Francois also came and we signed an agreement, and Asian countries. So how to make this comparable? We cannot compare the incompatibilities there. Then we cannot talk about collaboration. We must find a way.
Yes, we don't need actually a library of MOU. I mean, the whole collection of MOU that are so beautiful, but okay, well, thank you so much. So, Father Christy, if you want to wrap up. Any more questions? Oh, there. Okay. Oh.
This is not a question, just an observation. MOUs are held between the presidents or the rectors or the principals. I've got a beautiful example of Seattle University. The team from there, both the staff as well as students, they came to St. Joseph's University. And we were also supposed to go there, but we could not go because of the COVID. So I feel there is a beginning, there is openness is there to go to their respective places. And also one more initiative is, now Loyola Chicago, Dr. Nancy, for example, she said after retirement, I'll come to visit India, spend some time. From Seattle University also I've seen one of the professors went to Nicaragua, spent 1 year as a sabbatical. So I feel from the presidents, it has to go to a domain specific or a particular subject related groups, then they can do the mapping and progress is possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Father Munera. Come.
Thank you. I will try to explain myself. I think one of the subjects is welfare, mental health of people. But it's not only the students, it's all of us. Then I think we need to think about programs not only for the students, but for the communities. And it is important for identity and mission, and it is important for the care of people and the cura personalis. But also, I ask myself, is this a symptom or is the sickness? Because I think we need to think about why this crisis of mental health. And I think something like Fernando says, the socio-ambiental crisis is also a crisis for the persons itself. And maybe the mental health is a symptom of deep problems in society. And I think it's important to research about that, about what are the reasons in the competition, in the culture that that don't help the people to be well with themselves, to find hope and projects of life. And it's not only to the contention we can do with some people, it's important in the campus, but also I think we as Jesuit universities with a global perspective think about the society and why in this society the question of mental health is so important now.
Thank you, Father Munner. Actually, that was one of the discussions in our conference in Europe. Many presidents really highlight the issue that there is a crisis of vocation in our students. I mean, finding meaning on their life. So that is why we pointed out that we have to clarify, Phyllis Geister explained, the topic. I mean, it's not just mental or psychological health, spiritual, but also vocation. I mean, so this, all of these perspectives are necessary.
I found it very interesting that in the plans, one of the ideas is to promote collaboration among the regions and to foster collaboration, South-South and Global North and Global South. It is possible to develop a strategy to get external funding or grants. The topics that we prioritized have opportunities in different places and in different institutions. And definitely, I think that we can be creative to find some external funds to support the kind of projects that you mentioned.
Yeah, sure, certainly. Anybody else?
Can I also raise my voice shortly? I'm up here, hello. My name is Laura Marie, and I'm one of the students from the fellowship, and I'm from Germany. Okay, hello. I got very struck by the question or by the contribution from you, delegate, talking about financial contribution from so-called global north to global south. And as Jesuit University teach those values of solidarity, and you were talking a lot about global citizenship and stuff like that, me as a student, I would be very willing to contribute at least a small percentage of my tuition fee to a solidarity fund from students for students in Jesuit universities in the world. I just wanted to raise this idea to think about it because I do not think that financial support is impossible in this network, and I would really like to highlight how powerful your voice for solidarity, empathy, and stuff like that is for us students. So I just wanted to raise my voice shortly and say thank you.
Thank you.
I agree with you. I'm also a student.
Thank you for the deliberation. We were talking a lot about AI, and some of the representatives also here talked about the use of AI. I personally feel the constructive nature of AI depends on who uses it. So sometimes, there are undeniably huge benefits when it's used by, industries or like pharmaceutical and other, industries. But our students use it. When they use it, it's really terrible as presented by a few people who were representing the role of AI in the educational institutions. It feels like we are training machines to be more like human beings and training human beings to be more like machines because they lack creativity because of the use of AI. And the use of AI also has another implication. The power relationship between the countries change with empowerment in digital technology. So my question to you, the panel members is, or maybe an observation is, can we arrive at a universal consensus about the productive use of AI, either industry or in the academic institutions, whereby we'll allow humans to be more human? Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I think that it was part of all of the proposal. The pedagogical use of AI, as we heard during the panel, is one of the main points. I mean, use AI from a in-nation perspective. I mean, in-nation pedagogy and so on. So, Father Christie, come on.
I'm not going to take much time. I just want to thank all the presenters here, the presidents for their valuable suggestions, and we will take it up in a board, and certain things certainly we could do at the global level, IAGU level, and certain things we need to be done at the local level, because some of the things are very culturally centered, including, say, student well-being, or contextual, like democracy at crisis. So we can do certain things at the global level, and we'll certainly take it up. We will communicate to you, to all of you. You are all in the board tomorrow, so we can discuss and see what to be done. Before I go, I'd like to hear from you a review of the meeting that we had here. Not too many people, but just say your impression of these 3 days. Anything that we need to learn from these 3 days for our next assembly. That anything that we need to improve, I'll be happy to hear from some of you. You just say your name, then we have from you.
I'm Vinny Sebastian from Mumbai, India. So, Father, there were a lot of discussions, but some more discussions among the participants because there was a panel and there was a lot of ideas given to us, but within us, if there was some more discussions, because we are such a large community and everyone cannot participate. So maybe smaller groups, discussions would be better.
Thank you. Mike?
My name is Mike Graham. I want to build on that comment. In the AJCU North America meeting, we had several discussions around the idea of shaping the next meeting in a more synodal direction. because we very much appreciated talking among ourselves within our conference, but it was necessarily less rich than it would have been had we been discussing more with one another. Of course, there's such an enormous amount of information that comes from this. Balancing how to do that well will be a difficult task, but we think that that would be a good path forward.
I would like to place on record all our appreciation and gratitude to the host institution to begin with. They have gone out of their way and made our stay and deliberations very, very comfortable. Thank you, Father Rector, for all your hospitality. This is the third IAJU I am attending. And my personal feeling is that we are arriving at more and more clarity with regard to what we could possibly do as an international network. That is my first impression. And the topics that we have chosen for this particular conference, to me at least, have been very, very relevant. Be it the artificial intelligence, be it the mental health of our students and other stakeholders. And all that we were talking about, the refugees, Jesuit worldwide learning, all these things are becoming more and more focused so that we could take them back home and implement them in one way or the other for the benefit of not only our stakeholders, but the people who are around us and who are in need. And lastly, with regard to networking, we have been discussing this, and the voices are becoming a little shriller, a little more forceful. Perhaps it is for the IAJU board, under the guidance of Very Reverend Father General, to facilitate these things, especially back at home in India. The difficulties as enunciated by our own Joe Arun, we are feeling more and more stifled by the policy decisions of the government. And in spite of being in the field of higher education, some of us for such a long time, if we could feel that way, what could be the feeling of those upcoming institutions? I sincerely and earnestly appeal to all the board members to facilitate this kind of thing under the guidance and leadership of Very Reverend Father General. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Praveen Matis.
I truly appreciate this wonderful IAJU conference. I would like to thank the host institution, Javeriana, especially the students here and the faculty and everyone. The way they took care of us was amazing. Really enjoyed. I had attended earlier in Australia, the meeting earlier, and next two meetings I could not come. I attended this time and I feel such a huge difference as Father General was sharing that such a rich diversity that we have. As Jesuit group, even Michael Garangini also said how we could come together as a body. I don't think in the world any such body is there. We're such a body where in 6 continents we are present and we could do wonderful work. And first of all, to appreciate the richness that we have. I could meet many of them and talk to them and understand understand their culture, and everyone was very appreciative. Everyone was very open to learn and listen to the other. I think that is the beginning. We have made a huge beginning. I think from here we need to move forward, and definitely IAJU will help us and guide us to move forward so that one body we can make a huge difference, and that difference will be seen in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
So very good evening to all of you. This is my fourth IAJU. I attended Melbourne, then in Bilbao, Boston, and now here in Bogota. First, I would like to thank the University of Javeriana for beautifully organizing, and especially before the conference, the communication was fantastic. Though we had a few meetings, she's there, it was well communicated. First, I would like to thank for the very good communication before the IAG assembly. And Father Praveen said, my great appreciation to the students of this university. We could not miss anything. We would like to go somewhere. They said, this is not the way to go. Please, this is the way you are going. So I appreciate your sincerity and commitment. For me, this IAJU conference is the best among the four. Why I say? Because this is the first time we have taken up networking and collaboration very seriously. Otherwise, we have said we have to do networking collaboration. We would like to come with some suggestions so that, we are not just going on talking, something solid will happen. And all the topics that we have taken up and we had in our conference, South Asian Conference, we will take it. We will form our own group and we'll take up very, very seriously. All the topics that we have discussed is very, very important, not only global level, especially in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Michael Shu.
Thank you. I'm wearing a tie. It has the wolf and kettle, and it was given to us in Mexico City in 2010. And I wore it today for that reason, that Nancy Tuckman and I were there with Michael Garanzini, and we heard the inspirational talk by Adolfo Nicolas, and we came home. And at that time, of course, Michael Garanzini was our president, and then became leader of IAJU, and now has been leader of HACU. And I just want to say, without Michael Garanzini's inspiration and support all these years from Mexico City, we might not be here today. So thank you, Michael Garanzini.
Get up. Get up. Anyone else this side would like to say anything? Sorry. Where? Right. Okay. Okay.
Hi, my name is Priscilla. I'm part of the fellows, and I really wanted to thank you to not only to Georgetown, but to the AIJU to give us the opportunity to be here. And I have between a question and something that I wanted to say you is that we really appreciate everything that you're doing here for the world and for us. And something that is very important is that we bring down all this hope, all these ideas to the students, and that we tell them that a better world is possible and that there is an international network, a universal network that is working for that. Because most of us felt alone in this journey, but now knowing that there are a lot of people around the world working for a better world, is something amazing for all of us. So thank you so much, and we we must share that information with all those international students, not only living in the academic part or in the faculty part, but that all the students from the Jesuit network feel the same that all of us have felt these days. Thank you so much.
Thanks to Tom Banchoff, who arranged for all this, for this program, and even financing their students to come here. Thank you, Tom. Yeah.
Mauricio from Ecuador. Again, I would like to join in gratitude for the preparation of this meeting. And I just wanted to reaffirm what was said about synodality. This was a contribution very much inspired by Ignatian spirituality. And it does make a difference, not only to get to dialogue with different people, but to go much deeper. It really does bring us into a different type of depth, and I think that could be interesting. And just as we've seen the presence of the youth changing the perspective, perhaps in coming meetings, when we talk about migrants and refugees, we can hear their voices here. When we talk about integral ecology, we should listen from the people who are affected by those realities and flesh out more strongly this incarnational perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Stefania. Want to say? Yeah. You want to say something? No, okay. So okay. Yeah.
Yes. So maybe it's a little late when we give the voice to the young people. So maybe during, not just at the last moment, but during the Congress, their voices could have been heard. And finally, thanks for the air conditioning of the...
This is Pep Maria, currently from ESADE, and he has volunteered to help me 20% every week. So now he's shifting his residence to Rome. He will be in Georgetown, and he has come forward to coordinate all our task forces. So thank you, Pep, and get up. Thank you very much. I may also get the help of another leader here, not yet finalized, who has come forward to help me on a sabbatical for a few months to put all these things together, and take it forward. So on your behalf, I thank him. So we will let you know who is that later. Okay, so thank you very much. I think we'll go to we have another 20 minutes. Where is he? Okay, come. Father Bagus is the rector of Sanatha Dharma in Yogyakarta. So they are hosting the World Association of Alumni next year. So he wants to share with us a few ideas.
Thank you, Father Christie. My dear brothers and sisters, Father General, I'm standing here to talk about something that is actually very important in our network, but we haven't had the time to talk about it. That is the network of our alumni. It is a great potential for us as we move forward with all the programs and initiatives that we have been talking about in this wonderful conference. And many of us have been aware of the existence of WUJA, the World Union of Jesuit Alumni. It has been in existence for 70 years, and they have congresses along those years. And the next congress, the WUJA Congress 2026, will be a 5-day gathering from Wednesday, July 29th to Sunday, August the 2nd, 2026. So mark your calendar at Sanatha Dharma University in Yogyakarta, Indonesia. I believe we can create the same energy that we have been creating here in this wonderful place, Javeriana Pontifical University. The theme of the WUJA Congress is United in Spirit, Leading with Purpose. This theme expresses our intent to construct collaborations grounded in shared values, committed to building collective leadership that delivers purposeful and meaningful impact. Again, the year 2026 marks WUJA's 70th anniversary. It is a moment of celebration, a moment to celebrate, a milestone to reflect, to renew our commitment, and to move forward as one united global family. The Congress and its pre-events wishes to engage leaders of alumni organizations, Jesuit educational institutions, and key Jesuit network leaders in education, Jesuit alumni organization cadres, activists, and friends. And I believe, again, that this network of alumni that is quite vast can be of helpful contribution of us toward our mission. Father General has invited our alumni members to be part of our missions. So our committee in Yogyakarta has been working very closely with different regional alumni associations to work on the theme, on the procedures, on the way of proceeding during the Congress next year. So again, I would invite you to mark your calendar and to come to Yogyakarta. We will bring you to different important places around the city and its suburb. Among others, the ancient Hindu and Buddhist temples of Borobudur and Prambanan, UNESCO World Heritage Sites that are world famous. So again, come to Jogja and we would like to welcome you there. Thank you so much.